Hey there, beautiful souls. I'm Colleen Lockoff.
And I'm Meredy Lockoff.
And welcome to Spiritual Sisters with Sass, the podcast where two sisters with a passion for spirituality and a touch of sass come together to explore the exciting world of self-improvement.
That's right, Colleen. We embarked on this incredible journey together, diving into different self-improvement techniques, yoga practices, and a whole array of life experiences.
Yeah, and through it all, we've managed to create lives that are abundant, happy, and constantly evolving. It's been a wild ride, hasn't it, Meredy?
You bet, sis. We've got two very different perspectives on life, but that's what makes this podcast so special. I'm all about diving in head first into life's adventures and embracing every challenge with a bit of sass. While Colleen here, she's got her own unique approach.
Yep, that's me. And I'm all about the yoga, mindfulness, and finding my zen. And together we make the perfect balance.
So whether you're looking for some wisdom, a few laughs, or just some heartfelt stories, you're in the right place. We're here to share our personal experiences and insights with you, all while exploring the wild and diverse world of self-improvement.
So grab your headphones and get ready for a fantastic journey with us. Spiritual Sisters with Sass is here to uplift, inspire, and keep it real.
Thanks for tuning in, lovely listeners. Let's dive in.
Spirit and sass. Here we go. So we have Kevin joining us from Next Level University, and we're super excited to have you here. What really caught my eye was we're like, what do you want to promote? And you said nothing. And that is very uncommon that we see. And so I would love to start by, first of all, letting you know we're live on a bunch of platforms, not only recording on Zoom, we've got you on Facebook, we've got you on TikTok, we've got you on Insight Timer, Instagram. We kind of like have a whole thing that we do. So just so you know, and yeah, welcome. And please let us know a little bit about yourself and why we have you here today.
A lot of pressure. So today I am the host of Next Level University, a global top 100 podcast with 1,991 episodes, I think, as of today. Listeners in 175 plus countries and over 1 million listens. And that's like my baby. That is what I love doing. But obviously, that's not where I started, right? Yeah. I'm here today, but that's not where I started. Raised by my mom and my grandmother. I didn't know my dad, didn't meet my dad with the understanding that he was my father until I was 27. As a role in a young man's life. Grew up lower middle class, didn't have a lot of money. Obviously, that has affected me in different ways. Outside of that, I was kind of the lost kid who just never knew what he wanted to do with his life. So after high school, I got a job at a gas station. Decided college wasn't for me. It just didn't make sense. Gas station didn't pan out. So then I was a personal trainer. And then I worked at a hospital cleaning bathrooms and floors. Then I was a truck driver. Then I was a forklift operator. Then I was an on-call firefighter for a very short amount of time. And eventually, somehow, I got a really good, really high-paying job. It just kind of happened. Super weird. But I remember thinking, cool, now everything else should be kind of easy. I mean, this is the thing I've aspired to. I think the rest of the stuff will just kind of take care of itself. So at 25, if you looked at me, I was the guy who was in really good shape. I was getting ready to compete in a bodybuilding show, so quite literally the best shape I'll ever be in. My girlfriend at the time was a model. I had a nice car, high-paying job, new apartment, great friends. From the outside looking in, there's no way you would ever think I was miserable. But I actually ended up the next year sitting on the edge of a bed when I was traveling for work, contemplating suicide. Because I felt so stuck and I felt so trapped. And I think the best way to explain it is I thought the key of being in really good shape would unlock and fix all the internal voids. Okay, that didn't do it. It's got to be the key to having a very attractive partner. That's the next one. That didn't do it either. Okay. What's left? money. That's the one. And that's the hardest one to get. No, that didn't do it either. So I think I just got to a place where I had put so much thought into that final key, and I had worked so diligently on finding it and getting it, that when it didn't open the door, it didn't fix the void, I didn't really know what else to do. And that was kind of my rock bottom basement moment, and one of the hardest things ever of all time, but it's really helped me empathize with anyone who's going through it. And at this point, I'm grateful for that and grateful for having gone through that. Obviously, at the time, I wasn't as grateful, but I ended up being able to kind of crawl out of that. I left my job a few months after that suicidal ideation. And then I began the journey of being a broke entrepreneur for the next several years, trying to figure out how to do all this. And eventually we figured it out externally, but I still deal with imposter syndrome, and I still have days where I don't feel good enough or smart enough. I still have limiting beliefs. I am not a final product. I didn't figure it all out. I've just made friends with a lot of the stuff that I didn't befriend sooner. I think it's maybe the best way to explain it. So that's my story in a nutshell.
That's
Awesome.
awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Of course,
I
absolutely.
mean, I think the both of us, well, maybe Mary not so much. She's making the money and she's loving it, and it makes life so much nicer for her. Um, but she's been doing the work, so I think it's really calibrated her nervous system to be able to handle it. Where on the other side of things, I've done very similar. I've traveled around the world. I've tried to find myself for so many years. I've made it to like high level income, and I find myself like it's still in a place of like, oh, here I am, and nothing's like all the things that I ever thought I wanted. I kind of feel like shit, which makes it almost worse.
Yeah.
Like I have everything that everybody ever wanted, and I still feel like I suck completely.
Yeah, I think that's because a lot of people have said, can you dig deeper? Like, you had everything. Why do you think you were miserable? And I was like, because I thought I was supposed to be happier. And I had the guilt. And I think the delta between who I actually was and who people thought I was just too big. And I was afraid everybody was going to find out about it. So I very much understand. And I think you probably heard the saying, money doesn't buy happiness, but everybody wants to find out for themselves. I think it sucks when it happens, but I definitely would still be hunting money if that was the thing. The reason I don't care about selling anything when I'm with you guys is I just want to add value. This is very fulfilling for me.
Yeah.
And fulfillment was something I never had before. So of course I was chasing happiness and pleasure and all that. Now, on the day-to-day, life is really hard, but I'm the most fulfilled I've ever been. And I think there's something to that. So I very much understand and empathize a ton because I've definitely been there for sure.
I have this great meme on my phone, and it's a picture of this guy sitting on a bench with an owl. And the guy says, "Why is happiness so elusive?" And the owl says, "Because you're always looking for it in the future, not in the present."
Mm.
And it has hit me so hard that it's something that I will repost and remind myself of on such a regular basis, because happiness is right now in this moment. Yeah, today's hard, but also where can I find joy in today? Because if I think I'm going to find it tomorrow, I'm just pushing to get through today. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing tomorrow. And there's never going to be any joy because I'm always chasing it. It's elusive because I'm never at it.
Yeah.
And so I agree with Lynn. Like I do pretty well. I do way better than most men in my town and stuff like that. But I have done, like she said, I've done the internal work while I've been building this income, and then things will surface. Like I'm far from where I want to be, which means that I have not done all of the work. There's obviously so much still to do, and I clearly still have money things that I need to work around because I'm not where I want to be. But also I have a piece of it, and it does make my life easier. But I can guarantee you, just like you said, it didn't buy my happiness. It doesn't make me happy. It helps reduce my stress.
Yeah.
That's it. And in some ways it's helped me, feel fulfilled in the sense that, like, for us, our parents helped us as much as they possibly could with, buying houses and doing these things when we were younger. But for me to match what my parents did at the time, I have to times that by 3. So my parents each gave me $5,000 to buy my house, and I had to come up with $5,000. And for me to do that for the purchase price of my house versus what it's worth now and my kids, it's literally 3 times the amount. So I would have to give my son $15,000 or my daughter $15,000. So I've come to a place where I actually, instead of just even doing that, I bought him a place and he's making the mortgage payments and he's going to buy it from me in a year and do all the things. And the fact that I'm there makes me feel really good, but that's my ego. You know what I mean? Like that's the piece of me that's like, yeah,
Yeah.
look at me go, instead of, the true, I mean, it does give me happiness, but what
But
is
it's
that
healthy.
happiness? Yeah,
It's a healthy ego. I think there's a difference between so there I think there's a couple ways it happens. I think there are some people that start out just chasing external. And logically, I grew up, I didn't have money. I felt super overlooked because I was just a little dude. So I'll go get jacked. That'll fix it. I'll just make a boatload of money and I'll just date hot people. And I should feel fine. Everything's just going to kind of work. It'll just wash itself out. It makes sense logically. But I
totally
think
does.
then you get to a point where it's like, okay, it started from an external place, which created internal stuff, traumas, triggers, voids, whatever, right? Resistance. And then that just kind of grows internally for however many years until you face it. But I think on the other end, what I've seen very commonly too, and maybe you both have as well, is somebody who is just so spiritually sound, so centered, almost nothing bothers
Peaceful.
them, so
Yes.
peaceful, but they can't pay their bills. And it's like you are too good of a person not to be able to pay your bills
To be
because you're not going to be able
suffering
to.
in this life.
Yeah. And
Yes.
you can't amplify your message without money. Are you pointing up and over?
Pointing to her over
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
So spiritually sound, but so broke and suffering because that's what you should do for, and it's just like, it's a hard no for me.
Yeah.
But when she was making 250, $300,000 a year, she would come here and she would be locked in this room for 12 hours a day. And I'd see her for 30 minutes when I made her lunch. And then she'd come downstairs right before she'd go to bed and just be like, I'm just tired. Thanks. I love you. And, and she'd go. And so I never actually saw her. She'd be here for
Yeah.
30 days and I'd see her for like a day in total. And it was because she just worked and worked and worked and worked and worked and gave everything she had. And so to find some kind of balance in there,
Well, that was going to
right?
be my question, Kevin, because I heard you say, that you like to provide value. And for me, that was a core value for a very long time is like, I'll provide value. And then I believe from that is where, clients come from, word of mouth, etc. I gave so much value that I burnt myself out. How
Yeah.
did you find a balance?
I haven't. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll be very honest. My life is very much kind of what was explained. Like I essentially work 12 to 14 hours a day. But I don't know, I love it in a weird way,
I get you.
right? And again, this is I'm going to state this. This is a privilege. Circumstantially, I don't have any children. I'm not going to. My wife and I have already had that conversation. I'm a very simple man. I require no I require less than like the easiest plant to take care of. I don't need sunlight. I can get my own water and just lock me in the office. I'm going to be fine. This is quite literally a dream come true for me. So when I started this, I started a podcast and I said, if I could do this for a living, I would be the most fulfilled person ever, ever, ever of all time. If I ever lose sight of that, this whole thing goes to shit.
Yeah.
This whole thing was for nothing. If I lose sight of how grateful I should be and how privileged I am to pour into the lives of other people, but there have been times where I have suffered from a very heavy degree of martyrdom. And I think the thing that has helped me a ton is understanding that, number one, I can't help anybody if I don't help myself first. And I'm also way more capable of giving than I ever have been.
I have a question.
Please hammer it.
You haven't found the balance and give me food and water. I don't even need sunlight and leave me in my office. Is that also a way for you to mask things though? Like for my sister,
Now, I'm not trying to speak for you, Lynn, but from my view of what I've seen is she's a workaholic. She's a blankaholic is what she calls herself. She's addicted to anything she can be. We have seen in our life and we're brought up with workaholic family. They were never around. We didn't get quality time. Those became priorities for me. And I often say I have a great balance of work and relaxation and like my family time and stuff like that. Like I do feel like I have a lot of balance. Why are you shaking your head at me right now?
Oh no, I'm like, I hate not working. Like if
see,
if
and
we
so
go
for
somewhere and
me,
she's like, chill out. I'm like, no, this is stupid. I got work to do.
like literally we can't even sit and watch a show without her working. Me, on the other hand, I feel like I have found a balance. Now, if you talk to the coach that we had or have, she has, he doesn't ever turn off. And for me, that became a problem. I had to get two separate phones and put everything business on one phone so that my personal phone wasn't going off with it. I had to completely separate my stuff from here's my business, here's my personal. It doesn't mean I always shut off, but I just feel like I have far more balance in that way. It's also made me super uncomfortable because having more balance means I have time to sit in my shit. So do you find that this 12 to 14 hours a day working, even though it's what you wanted to do and it's the passion, do you find it's also your cover? It's your escape?
It's a great question. It's a great question. I don't to my current awareness and where I am, no, I don't think so. Because this is the interesting thing. I don't really want to do it. So like there's this fine line for me of I am not a natural workaholic. I've just set really big goals that have kind of dictated the way I live my life. And when I set those goals, I really mean it. I'm not saying it to sound cool. I want to have the most successful in terms of impact self-improvement company ever of all time. We didn't get to 2,000 episodes because we said we wanted to get to 2,000. This is just a byproduct of what we think it's going to take to accomplish that. So almost in a way, I don't want to do it. It's just like kind of what I signed up for. And I can't imagine doing anything else. So it's like I get the opportunity and the privilege to choose the pressure that I'm under. And I can't imagine doing anything else. So no, I don't think so. And I think the other thing too that has to be stated is our company's a self-improvement company. So like every day I'm thinking about what was that about? Why did I have that little ego flare? Yeah. What the hell was that about? Are you getting a little full of yourself, Kev? You better tone it down. Like life is coming for you. Or why do you feel terrible about yourself all the time? You're doing a lot of really good stuff. So I think that's always a focus. When I first started this, now the podcast is Next Level University, but the initial title was Hyper Conscious. I want to know everything about myself, the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, the stuff I can't work on yet, the stuff that's already been worked on. So I would say hopefully not. I would say probably not would be my answer.
Okay.
But I love the question.
Yeah, I know. And we totally have to like follow up in, I don't know, what do you think, Mary? Like 2 years? So personally, I'm a yoga teacher. Like I used to be a nurse, went to med school, burnt myself out in the medical field.
And I hate when you explain yourself like this. It drives me crazy.
She thinks I need some master title to encompass
She's
all
taught hundreds of 200-hour teacher trainings. She teaches yoga teachers how to be yoga teachers, and she coaches them how to have a business in yoga. So I'm a yoga teacher. So it's not a bitch, but it doesn't make me any money.
That's fair. It's like, yeah, you deserve. I don't want to say you deserve anything. You could have a much shinier title if you
see. It just drives me crazy because I feel like she minimizes herself when she says, I'm a yoga teacher. And I'm not saying anything bad about yoga teachers, y'all. I just think she lowers, she's not doing this. She's doing this for yoga teachers. So I feel like when she says that, she just minimizes herself. And it drives me crazy.
We did look up some names yesterday and we came up with master yoga educator and business coach. We did come up with that one.
That's nice.
Okay. I like that.
That being said, personal development, as we go back through all 10,000 years ago, it's pretty interesting because yoga literally teaches all the concepts of personal development nowadays. It's all just a copy. And I love that because my scientific brain is just like making these connections all over the place. And that's how I offer very grounded, scientific based yoga. And I love it. If you come and do a teacher training, which Kevin, I would offer you, if you haven't done that and you want some self-improvement, we've got a hybrid yoga teacher training coming up. You could join us. You could join
Okay.
us online. You could join us at the 1 week retreat in Vancouver Island. Like we could talk about that if that's something that you're interested in. But it
Okay.
really
It's
is like
pretty game changing.
it's a
Even when
life.
you're already working on yourself, it takes everything that we know in modern times and moves you into the thousands and thousands of years ago.
Okay.
Like it was such a
It's
great
the
tie-in. So
OG
just saying.
teachings, like really. And so, me teaching this to people, I mean, I got to see groups of 28 people coming and their whole lives changing just by like 3 weeks together. And it became such a passion for me. And I gave up all my earthly material belongings and I went and I started like being nomadic and teaching these teacher trainings. And from that came more and more business. So I'm running teacher trainings, but I'm also running this incredibly successful yoga business. And I was literally at a point where I only felt good when I was teaching.
Mm.
I feel so natural. I know this stuff. Like, I don't need anything. I can just stand there and teach you a whole teacher training without any books or anything. And it became a point where I would literally end a teacher training at like 11 in the morning and then start another one at 4 p.m. And I remember people telling me, you're going to get burnt out. You're going to get burnt out. I was like, but no, this is where my energy comes from. And then it was I almost 2 years ago now, June, where I decided to take 3 months off where I was just going to chill and I was going to write my book. I'm writing an anatomy book.
Nice.
And this was going to help me to be more balanced in my life. And I burnt out hard and have been in one of the biggest depressions I feel like I've ever had in my whole entire life and still haven't like fully recovered back to where I was because it's hustle culture for sure in my head of like, this is what I have to do to create income. I have to serve to such a level of value that I just kill myself.
Mm.
And I don't find it. Now I take a few months off and then that's it. Like I can't even, if I try to hold space for very big groups, I'm physically exhausted. Like I can't do it anymore. So I'm kind of wondering if that's like where you're at because my ego was definitely like, no, I can't stop. This is my dharma, a yoga, my purpose is a yoga term for like my life's purpose. And
Mm-mm.
now here I am like trying to find a balance because I like nice things and I like to fly first class. And I do believe I'm deserving of those things, but I definitely deserve not to work nonstop,
Yeah.
basically 20 hours a
And have
day.
a little more freedom in the freedom that you have created by being able to
Yeah,
be
being of
anywhere.
value to people. I was also I'm not going to be unkind to myself. I was also not appropriate with money because my nervous system, I don't think was calibrated to hold on to it. It just
Mm.
was, I'm making 30K, I'm spending 40K. Like,
Been there, friend.
you want
Been
first
there.
class? I got first class.
Yeah.
So I'd
Yeah,
love for you to like share if you're open to
of
some free
course.
coaching here of like how do I find a balance of like giving value to people that I find is really important, but not burning myself out to do it.
One of the things that I've noticed is heart-driven people tend to lack strategy because so there's the quote that there's a couple. One, chase your passion, chase your purpose, and money will come. Yeah, yeah, maybe. And the other one is if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. Yeah, less
Yep.
maybe,
Yeah.
in my opinion. I think what happens is somebody who just has love for the game, whatever the game is, they get to a place where they say, well, it kind of negates the love and the heart and the impact if I run systems and I have strategies behind the scenes. That's what I've seen. Some of the people that I've worked with who have the biggest hearts are also the ones who are making the least money, and they're really kind of stuck because it's the internal stuff of, well, I can't charge. Like, what if somebody can't afford it? If they can't afford it, there's somebody out there for them that's not you. The truth of the matter is, you can't afford it. You can't afford to do that because it's not sustainable.
Mhm.
So I don't know if I have a really good answer because I don't know. I feel like my life is relatively balanced, all things considered. I exercise every day.
Yeah.
I weight train every day. I have a great diet. I track my calories. I do all that. I spend at least 2 hours, if not 3 hours a night with my wife. So it's not like I'm like hyper regimented,
Yeah.
which allows me to put in time doing the most important things in health, wealth, and love. So I don't know because every time I've gotten burnt out, I've just reevaluated and looked at what I can move around and what really drains me, what doesn't. Should I change my hours, that type of stuff? But I think it's probably the internal stuff of you need more strategy, and you are probably so good at adding value that you don't understand that you could take away 50% of the value you add and it would still be 70% more than anybody else is doing.
Right.
Yeah.
That part is where I think a lot of us, I want to change people's life. I know. Same. If you said, hey, surprise, this is an 8-hour live stream, let's go. And I also have to make some phone calls because I'm going to miss dinner and I have coaching calls later, but I would do it and then I might regret it after. So I think it's a juggling act of the heart, the spirituality, the purpose, the mission, and the strategy / scalability of it. And I think most of that's internal. So I think it's probably that. Your level of value that you want to add is amazing. And if you only focus on depth, I think you get burnt out because then you're unable to scale breadth. So like right now, we're talking to however many people.
Yep.
That's breadth. Will we have a 1% improvement on everybody? I mean, that's the goal, right? But if we were behind the scenes, this conversation would be completely different. It would just be depth and depth. So I don't know if that answers anything or creates more questions, but that's where my mind goes.
I know. I actually love it because one key foundational piece that I've learned over the last little bit that I'm still not 100% practicing is non-negotiables. And so I heard you say you still work out every day, you still spend time with your wife, you still eat well. And those are things that even though I'm aware of them, and even though I call them my non-negotiables, when I get busy, I will do the 8-hour live stream and I won't work out and I won't eat and I won't spend time with my partner. And therefore, that's how I get burnt out, is by not making myself a priority. Really.
You're the vessel.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Same. I had a phase probably like 6 months ago where business had grown a bunch. I was waking up and I'm not kidding, I was walking out of the bedroom, wiping the sleepies from my eyes, already batching my emails, already batching WhatsApp, wasn't doing mobility, wasn't exercising. And I had a chat with my business partner. And I was like, dude, I'm maybe the least fulfilled I've been since we started this. And he's like, all right, man, what's going on? I was like, I don't know. I mean, we're making good money. Things are growing. He's like, Kev, you got to understand, there are like 3 things that affect your self-worth. 1 is how consistent you are in the gym. 2 is how good of a partner you are to your wife. And 3 is the amount of money we have in the bank. Those are your 3 non-negotiables. You got to move the needle on one of those each day. And I changed my morning routine around, and now I feel so much better. But I had that guilt of, well, what if somebody needs me? They can wait 15 minutes. That if they need me 15 minutes, I'm still up before they are, so they're going to be fine. So it was really the old adage that gets beaten to death of, you got to put the mask on yourself first.
Yeah. And
then when you put the mask on yourself, then you can go help other people put their masks on. But number 1, we have to know what those masks are. So I think that's a big piece of it. And the other thing too that's been super helpful is when you're restarting to build habits, make the lowest barrier to entry embarrassingly small. Like, oh, you want to exercise today? Cool, let's do 5 minutes. Right. Hell yeah. And then tomorrow we'll do another 5, or we can do 6, or whatever it is. And then by the end of the month, you're up to a half hour, an hour. But at least then it's sustainable. So yeah, that's my thought.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I will coach people to that
of course.
Understanding all day long.
Same.
But then if I'm traveling, and there's, well, not McDonald's, but a Subway or something, I'll go and I'll grab something like that instead of prioritizing the fact that I need this much protein and, this much fat and these many carbs. I'll just satiate my hunger. So it's really one of the things that I learned when I started working with my coach was the importance of core values.
Mhm.
And he said you could totally scale a business without core values, but when things get hard, then you will be driven by external values, which is what started to happen in that depression was like, oh, I better take this client because I'm off for 3 months, so I better say yes, but I know don't.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Core
And that
values.
became my most draining client I've ever had in my whole entire life. But I made 5K. Woo!
Yeah. Well, it's hard. I mean, that's the hard part is some of that only comes through experience.
Yeah.
It's like now you know exactly what you want and you know exactly what you don't want. Could you ever know to the degree you do if you didn't experience it? I don't know. I could tell you. I've had $200 clients and I've had $5,000 clients. They're different.
Right.
But when I got the $200 client, I needed them.
Yeah.
I needed them to eat. So I kind of had to experience it, but yeah, that's definitely a challenge. I think if we really think about core values, core beliefs, and core aspirations, if there's any in conflict, I think that's when things get really, really challenging. So I had a client one time who was a podcaster. And I said, what do you want to do with this thing? Like, what's your goal with your podcast? And they said, I want to be like you guys, but like 10 times more successful. It's like, all right, I can tell you what it's taken to get here. The 10X part, I don't know yet. But I said, let's really talk about what's important to you. You're a family man, right? He said, yeah. I said, you want to be at the bus stop to get your kids off? He's like, yeah. Dinner every night? Yeah. Recitals, sporting events, parent teacher conference, all that? Yeah. I said, brother, I love you. This isn't for you. This isn't for you. Not in the way I'm doing it, at least. Maybe you could do your own unique version.
Right.
But I think he had core values of being a family man and core aspirations of having one of the most successful companies on the planet in misalignment. I don't know what's more challenging, thinking you want something and never getting it, or thinking you want something and getting it and realizing you never did in the first place.
Right.
I don't know which one of those is more challenging, but I think it's a conversation of if there's any misalignment, that's usually where things start to go off the rails.
I agree 100%. One of the offerings that I will have everybody look at is something called the picture of you. It's really like a Bob Proctor teaching in which he talks about the fact that as a subconscious, baby, we're fed our beliefs. And so you said core beliefs and the misalignment of core beliefs and core values. I can have all these amazing core values, right? Inclusivity, self-care, alignment, integrity, blah, blah, blah. But then my core belief is at the base, I'm unlovable. So when it comes down to it, I'm not ever going to choose myself if I'm not aware that my core belief is that I'm kind of a piece of crap.
Yeah, I heard that in your latest episode, the piece of poop. It's like,
yeah.
Okay, I'm sure we're going to touch on that. But that's the thing is you are aware of it because of all the work you've done.
For sure.
And now we can start figuring out, okay, you're unlovable. You probably don't feel like you fit in many places. Maybe you feel like you're too much for certain people, so you dim.
Yeah.
And when you dim, you fit in, but you're super unfulfilled. It's just that core wound that's when you have to play a part to fit in and feel like you belong, you get really good at playing that part, but you start to self-abandon.
Right.
My business partner is a really good example. He is someone who's deeply unlovable. That's his core wound.
Yeah.
Because he's a genius and he's good at everything and he's great looking and he's 6'2", blonde hair, blue eyed, just really good at everything. Every time he grew, people villainized him or pulled him down. So he said, every time I grow, bad things happen. I'll just drink a ton and I'll be relatable and then I'll fit in. Did that for however many years. So one of the things he's working through right now is the courage to be himself and get whatever reaction that will create. And it's not easy.
We're on a similar path because as soon as you start to go away from your default Right.
Yeah.
It's scary. It's so scary. I always feel like I'm in trouble. I'm gonna die. Like if I say something, well, I just about said if I say something unkind, and it's not unkind, it's just like probably not what someone wants to hear. But
Mm.
it's real to me. And I say something like that, I immediately just like brace for impact
Yeah.
because I'm gonna die, I'm gonna lose this person. And really it's coming from this belief that I'm unlovable and who am I to speak up?
Do you
Nobody.
think do you think that's where the lack of, I don't, accurate title for the yoga teaching is? Like, if I actually tell people how good I am, they're gonna freaking hate me.
Yeah, I mean, even just repeating those, like master yoga educator. I mean, yeah, if you look at how much money I've spent on training, how much time I've spent of my own time researching, like I am incredibly knowledgeable in anything that I do.
Mm.
And even saying that is like, I'm so
Yeah.
smart, you're a fucking idiot. Like now everybody hates. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I get that because essentially I just like I've likened myself to a doormat and doormats don't speak up ever.
Yeah.
And it's an old story. Like I'm over it. I don't want that to happen anymore. And I say that and as soon as I start to speak up, it's a whole new world to just be like say how I feel to someone and then
Yeah.
you met my sister. She's a very vocal, straight up, has no problem. She doesn't even care if she's being unkind. Like she's just like, this is how it is. And a couple weeks ago, I actually started speaking to her about a couple things. And I'm her older sister. And I mean, we have a very close relationship. And I've still never even felt comfortable enough with the person that knows me more than anybody else in this world to
Yeah.
be straight up and say, hey, I don't like when you say that.
Yeah. Well, boundaries. Boundaries are the answer. But they just seem so freaking impossible because it's a muscle that hasn't been flexed that
Yeah.
often. And now you're a full grown human. And it's this weak muscle that it's like, how do I get this up to speed
Yeah.
fast enough? You don't. You do a little bit today and you do a little
Yeah.
bit tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, we have a, right now, I think we have a 16-person team. And the majority of our team are women. And a lot of them have dealt with the same thing of, like I said last year, 2024 was a year of boundaries. We're all going to set boundaries with ourselves and with other people because it sucks in the moment, but what you get after is you get self-worth,
Right.
you get self-trust, and you get proof next time. You get that little voice in your head saying like, this kind of bothers me, but I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to rock the boat. Last time I did, and actually went better than I expected.
Right.
All right, let me look at the most recent relevant proof. But again, all of this is easier said than done, right? Of course. It's easy to say on a podcast. It's harder to do in real life.
Yeah. And I mean, and I have been. And it's
Congrats. Congrats.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Still incredibly scary. And like you said, like it happens and then it's okay. Sometimes it happens and it's not okay.
Mhm.
And I'll want to revert immediately to like all the things that I can do to make it better. I would say being in spiritual community also it elevates the bypassing because spiritual people aren't supposed to get angry.
Mm.
Spiritual people aren't supposed to have money. Spiritual people aren't supposed to be all of these things. But like you said, my experience in life has brought me to this point where I was just talking to someone that I trust. She's very spiritual. I trust her. I look up to her. She's lived in ashrams, all these things. And I started talking about my finances and where I want to go with my business. And it was very interesting to hear her come back with a very broke mindset
Mm.
that I need to stop working, just give up, stop working and like let go and let God basically. And like I believe that in one way. And then I'm also a grounded human living on this earth. So there's also like this masculine action that needs to take place in order for me to live a certain way. And that's what she said. She's like, "Have you ever just seen like one of those artists on the side of the road that's high on mushrooms and like Jah will provide, like everything's amazing for them?" And I'm like, yes, but also no. Like things are not amazing for them. They can't even afford to go fly to see their family. They're living on the streets in Costa Rica. I
Mm.
get it. God's providing, but at the same time, time like providing exactly what they're asking for. So
Yeah.
I have come to a place of like I'm actually like deserving of wanting to fly first class. Like that's not a bad thing. It's okay to want to not be I came to Panama and we were at like in a really gross Airbnb. And I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. And then the next morning, my partner's like, I thought you were going to do this like speaking up thing. And I'm like, you're right. It's not fine. I do not want to be here. This is disgusting. And we left and I didn't die. It was amazing.
Right.
But
Right.
like each time I am realizing there's also this calibration of like I am deserving of these things and therefore have had to go through all of these experiences to be exactly where I am right now.
Mm.
The struggling sucks. But it's also like if I then take these spiritual principles and actually apply them, the only struggle is internal. Like nothing's
Yeah.
wrong. I mean, I'm in a beautiful hotel room and I'm eating well, and I mean, we're traveling. Like, it's really not that bad. It's just me being like, it should look this way and it should look that way. And of course, I'm never good enough at anything that I do. And therefore, it's looking at the internal beliefs that are misaligning with the values and the aspirations, like you said.
Yeah. I think there's a big difference between struggle and progress. It's like you're
Fair.
progressing, it just feels shitty. It just, even that's all proof that you're growing. And I
Yeah.
think that's one of the most common misconceptions. I won't say lies, misconceptions about growth is it feels good.
Right.
Sometimes. Sometimes it feels really good. Other times you sit in the end of the bed, you're rocking back and forth saying like, who am I and what has happened over the last couple months? And then 6 months later, you ratchet it up and you're good and you feel comfortable. But I don't know. I think progress is uncomfortable, and sometimes discomfort and resistance is proof that you're growing. Other
Right.
times it's proof that you're not growing. And I
Right.
think deciphering the two is kind of the goal, right?
Fair. If you look at it like yoga wise, it's awakening. Awakening is completely uncomfortable. It's awakening to like the stories and the ego and the BS, but then there's suffering because you're going in the wrong direction. Right? So like growth is a great word. And if I can like delineate or like find the direction of awakening is painful, but it does mean that I'm moving forward. Whereas this suffering is actually showing me that I'm going in the wrong direction. It can be a great recalibrator
Yeah,
to move
100%.
forward. Yeah.
100%. I think that's why self-awareness is so valuable, because I
Fair.
think I think naturally we're all on one polarity. Like we're on one pole. Like there's some people that hustle. Some people, the advice of, yeah, you should probably work a little bit more is untrue. You should work less and spend more time with your family. Just like on the other end, if I was to say, like, honestly, you should probably spend more time with your family, there are some people out there that do not need to hear that advice. They're already really good at that.
Right.
What are you already You're
Yeah.
really good at adding value.
Yeah.
You're never not going to be.
Right.
Even like your 40% value is just over delivering. That's your natural strength.
Right.
But there's something on the other side that you just haven't worked on yet. Same. I was really good with people and I had no strategy, no business sense. What are we doing here? I have no idea what I'm doing.
Right.
Continue the momentum of the strength, start the momentum of the opportunity for growth. And then I think eventually you get to a place where you're just more centered, for lack of better phrasing.
Right.
Will it ever be 5? Don't know. It might be 7 trending towards adding value. But there's still, if we're equating to 10, there's still a 3 strategy. That 3 strategy is infinitely more than the 0 might have been.
Yeah.
And then who knows what happens there. You seem like the type of person that no matter what, you couldn't be arrogant if you tried. You couldn't not add value even if you tried. And if you could see what I could see, the world would be a weird place because none of us would have any blind spots, but it doesn't work that way, unfortunately.
Fair. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Of course.
So this is so perfectly timed. I appreciate you being so open. So
Of course.
if someone wants to get in touch with you, like what is it that you offer? Clearly a podcast. Is this, and
Yeah.
you said you take coaching calls. So what does that look like to work with you?
Yeah, so we have group coaching, we have one-on-one coaching, we have free courses, we have I think we have one paid course. So it really depends on what the person is looking for. I've really leaned into like working with podcasters. So I almost exclusively work with podcasters now, which is just weird. That's always a weird dinner conversation. It's like, no, I like the podcast thing, like I coach people. Like, how do you
Yeah.
do that? It's like, yeah, okay, I understand. So I do that. With the podcast is holistic self-improvement. So that's every day. We do an episode every day on that. That's a great place for anybody to start. Always free. We don't
Yeah.
have 5 minutes of ads. All the ads and sponsorships are our own. So that's always, I think, probably the best place to start.
Yeah.
If anybody needs anything specific, you can email me. My email is kevin@nextleveluniverse.com. I do my own emails. Questions, comments, concerns, fire away. I promise to get back to you.
That's awesome.
I appreciate it.
Well, thanks so much for coming on. Does this feel
Of
like a
course.
good like mic drop place to stop?
Yeah, I very much appreciate the opportunity to add value, and I appreciate you being so receptive to a deep conversation in front of who knows how many people.
There. Well, thank you very much. I'm just going to
course.
stop the recording.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us on this spirited journey today.
We hope you enjoyed diving into the world of self-improvement with us. Two sisters who found their own unique paths.
Remember, life is a tapestry of experiences, and it's how we embrace them that makes all the difference.
So whether you're on your yoga mat, exploring mindfulness, or simply navigating life's twists and turns, always keep that spirit and sass alive.
We are Colin and Nerdy Locked Up, and we're here to remind you that happiness and abundance are within reach.
Stay connected with us on social media and keep those questions and stories coming. We love hearing from you.
Until next time, beautiful souls, keep doing the work, keep sharing your experiences, and keep living a life that's authentically you.
And never forget to add a little extra sass to your day.
Spirit and sass, always.